Perfect. Hi, we're Arnold and Rick from Legal Things. We're a company in the legal tech industry in the Netherlands. We've been around for about 3 years. I think we were pretty early to the legal tech vibe. And today we're going to present our latest solution called Live Contracts. And for our presentation, we expect that participants have some technical background and some experience with smart contracts and blockchain in general. All right, so let's go. What's a live contract? A live contract is an agreement that is formalized as a finite state machine. If you don't know what a finite state machine is, then just picture a flowchart. So what's Legal Things? Legal Things is our current platform to create and run live contracts. It stores data in a centralized way and only uses the blockchain for proof of existence. Our latest project is Legal Things 1, which is still work in progress. But the difference with the current platform is that it stores all information in a verifiable and immutable way on a public, decentralized storage. So what are we trying to accomplish here? We want to spread out power between an entire society, instead of one person or small elite group pulling all the strings. To accomplish that, we focus on 3 pillars. The first one, empowering self-reliance. The second one, mitigating fraud. And the third, reduce workload and friction. So what do we mean with the first one? We want parties to be able to participate without having to rely on others. This is especially important for individuals, as currently they only have the choice between depending on a lawyer or blindly trusting organizations and governments. To achieve participation, we must do the following. We must make the rules understandable for everybody they apply to. We must provide access to information without relying on the other party. And we must empower people to participate themselves without depending on lawyers. Let's go to our next goal. Mitigating fraud and reduce workload. So you would think creating an efficient system would be easy. Most tasks are repetitive and easy to automate. But why aren't we doing this? Well, because there's actually a reason for making the system inefficient. We call this bureaucracy. Most people think this is a bad thing, but in fact, bureaucracy is our best defense against fraud and nepotism. We have a large number of people jumping through hoops, making sure everything is documented.
I
never thought about it that way. It's great.
Yeah, it's true actually. But so we have been having people, a large amount of them, jumping through hoops, making sure everything is documented, and providing a long paper trail and proof of work. This makes it difficult to manipulate the system. So we can conclude that making a system more efficient without implementing a paper trail and proof of work in a different way would give unintended rise to fraud. This is the why. I will now give the word to Arnold Daniels, who explains how we're going to solve this with live contracts.
Great. So let's look at 3 ways of formalizing an agreement. First, paper contracts. They are written in a natural language. This means they should be easily understandable by humans, but it's a difficult task for computers. Also, they only define the rules and don't assist in executing them. Smart contracts, on the other hand, are written in the programming language. This means that they're easy to understand for computers, but hard for humans. They require unambiguous information, which every node needs to run the contract. Thus, a public blockchain also means public data. So do we want all our personal information to be open up to the world? Probably not. If you look at these 3, live contracts look like the least powerful of them. Finite state machines have less computational power than a Turing machine. And besides that, a finite state machine is far less expressive than both a natural language or a Turing complete language. However, if we look at what they can accomplish, we can see it's easy to interpret them for both humans and computers. It has a deterministic states, So all events are logged and the current state is only the result of these past events. And each party is responsible for their own action, thus allowing things like encryption. So responsible for their own actions. Does that mean some kind of centralization? Well, with smart contracts, we rely on unambiguous facts for them to be self-executing and self-enforcing. A smart contract can only use data that has been committed on the blockchain. And since all parties are biased, we need something like an oracle that we can trust upon supplying correct and unbiased data. But this breaks the promise that the blockchain once made, as now with the oracle, we've created a centralized, trusted third party. So with live contracts, we took the opposite approach. In a live contract, nothing is ever a fact. Things are always according to someone. For example, according to me, the Bitcoin price yesterday was $7,600. And to make the statement, I went to CoinMarketCap, looked up the price, and that's it. You can go and verify it. And then according to you and me, the price of Bitcoin yesterday was $7,600. Other people can also go and verify it, and we can continue this forever. But always the statement will be, according to this group of people, the Bitcoin price yesterday was $7,600 dollars. We can never establish a universal truth. So, enough with the theory. Let's look at a simple example. Let's take Jake, a 16-year-old boy who gets a side job mowing the lawn of his uncle Mike once a week. He is instructed to cut the grass to 2 inches and promises not to damage the lawn or the garden gnome. If he damages any of the garden gnomes, he won't get paid, and actually he needs to pay his uncle $30 for each damaged gnome. And if there's any kind of disagreement, it's up to Frank, Jake's father, to decide. Okay, well, normally since they're family, a handshake would do, but just for the sake, let's see how we can formalize this agreement. So take a look at this agreement. Take a look at this contract. It has a serious flaw, but can you spot it? I'll give you a few seconds to find it. So here it is. What you can see is because of the comma, the unless applies to the whole sentence before it. That means that a contract becomes void if any damage is done to the lawn of or even a single gnome. Well, that was not the thing that was intended. And you might think, okay, this is a joke, but punctuation errors like this happen in real life. In 2006, a similar mistake allowed a Canadian telecommunication company to get out of a 5-year contract after only 1 year. So, while using natural language works, the ambiguity of words and the subtlety of punctuation can be exploited. This is the reason that a lawyer is required to scrutinize over every word in a contract. Let's have a look at this example using smart contracts. Well, we can see that since it's a programming language, it's even harder to understand for Jake what he's actually signing. You can kind of solve it by creating a smaller contract using standard libraries, modifiers, builders. But in that case, you need to actually trust what is in there. You're not going to read it. And such libraries may have intentional or unintentional flaws that can be exploited. And we all know that writing bug-free code is really, really hard. And having to find potential exploits in other people's code, well, that's even harder. With smart contracts, this can have serious consequences. For instance, well, just yesterday, the parity bug. If you haven't seen it, go and look that up. But okay, for now, let's just move past that. Let's zoom in on the part where Jack and Mike signed the agreement. For a smart contract to be self-enforcing, both Jack and Mike must deposit to either about $600 each onto the contract. So this money is in escrow. Neither of them can touch it while the contract is running. Okay, with $600, a small amount, this might be feasible, but just imagine this to be a real labor contract, and you have to put a full year's salary in escrow for each and every employee. Well, okay, forget it. And think about the employee. Can you ask him to deposit the penalty fees for each clause in advance, only to be returned to him when the contract ends? I think not. So the point is, implementing legal contracts as a smart contract introduces all kinds of problems. And while these problems seem solvable at first glance, solving them in fact negates all the benefits they have. So let's see how such an agreement would look like as a live contract. We can see that a finite state machine can be easily visualized as a simple flowchart. This makes it understandable by both humans and computers. Breaking up the whole agreement into small steps means that there is less room for language ambiguity and general misunderstanding. Here we can see the so-called happy flow. The lawn is mowed every week, Jake gets paid, and all is good. However, this is not always the case. Mistakes are made, and well, there might even be a dispute. With live contracts, we forgo the idea of making contracts self-enforcing and accept the fact that arbitration might be needed. So while running a contract, every event is recorded and sealed on the blockchain. So in case of a dispute, Arbiter Frank receives a full and unbiased history of the events. And he doesn't have to rely on the stories of Jake and Mike to determine the past. This makes fraud so much harder and arbitration so much easier.
Well, if you're interested in having a look at how that looks in real life, go and have a look and try an actual live contract on livecontracts.io. You can register and play around with a US employment agreement we made and actually violate a clause in there and see what happens with the flowchart. Yeah, thank you a lot for the attention, and let's move over to the Q&A.
Perfect. Well, thanks for staying in the time. So, any question? Maybe we have time for one question for yes, go ahead.
I have a question about the last part of your presentation about actually seeing the contract. So in most, if not all, jurisdictions around the world, there's only specific examples where your contract has to be in writing, and other than that, it's just evidence of your contract. It's not a contract by itself. And a lot of courts don't have the capability and have elected not to use the actual code as the contract and might need it in writing. What do you guys think about that, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so we acknowledge that the flowchart on itself is not a legally binding contract at the moment, and that's why we also generate paper contracts that accomplish them.
And you're comfortable that the software and the written contract perfectly align, and there's no delta between the two? Like in the circumstance where your smart contract executes something that's slightly different than what's written as your contract says.
Yeah, so while we rely also on natural language, because that's simply a fact we cannot move past, we still rely on scrutiny, and the same scrutiny must tell us that the thing that we've we've encoded, the live contract we've encoded, is the same as the contract we have on paper.
All right, well, Rick and Arnold, thank you so much. I want to turn it over to Matt now, but this is very interesting. So people can you maybe put your email address in the chat box so people can reach out directly to you?
Yeah,
if they have
sure.
more questions. All right, well, thank you so much. This is very great to have you. And I'll turn it over to you. Wow, you have a busy screen. So let's turn it over to Matt now, CEO and co-founder of Tally. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate being here. As Roland mentioned, my name is Matt Palm. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tally. Tally is a conversational time tracking assistant for employers that lets you basically track your time and manage your productivity throughout the day using nothing more than your voice. So before I get into the product and do a demo and all that good stuff, I wanted to introduce myself and a little bit about my team. You are seeing that correctly. The entire co-founding team is named Matt. That was not a job requirement, but it was a coincidence of what happened. Also, to be completely transparent, I went to that other school in the Bay Area called Berkeley. Thank you guys for not holding that against me and letting me come on your beautiful campus. I'm the non-technical person of the team, so if you have super technical or engineering questions, I can give you my best answer, but won't be able to do a great job at it. That's where the other two Matts come in. Matt A.W., he's our kind of our head of product, actually a high school physics teacher turned product manager. And then Matt Hoyland, he's our creative technical guy who loves just building stuff in general. And fun fact, has also built a number of tiny houses for him and his family. If you can imagine living with your wife and 3 kids in 100 square feet. So quite the eclectic group. So the voice revolution is here. 843% is the level of growth seen year over year in voice-driven devices from Q2 of last year to Q2 of this year. People are looking at voice as being the next revolution. I'm sure a bunch of you people, you have either Google Homes or Alexa, Amazon Alexa devices in your apartments right now. I have 5 in my house. And it's only a matter of time before those devices are in every conference room, in your doctor's office, in your dentist's offices. And Tally is one of the first applications out there, one of the first companies built starting from voice and looking to solve real problems for real users when it comes to the business world. And so what problem are we solving? So I'm not a lawyer, but I'm married to one. My wife there, Kimberly, does civil litigation in Portland, Oregon, has to track every 6-minute block of her day. So 90 chunks of time a day, 450 chunks of time a week, 23,400 little blocks of time every single year. And she does it all on Post-it notes. Literally pen and paper, writes her time down, and then we'll spend hours at our kitchen table trying to, 1, decipher what was written on those Post-it notes, 2, go through them all, and ultimately gets through that process and realizes that, hey, I was in trial last week. I worked 80 hours. I know I should have built 60 of them, but I can only find 50 hours of time. Well, that 10 hours of lost time wound up on some Post-it note that's now probably at the bottom of her bag or at the floor of our car. Time she doesn't get credit for, doesn't get against her billable hour requirement, and at $300 an hour, which is her entry-level bill rate in Portland, every 6-minute block of time that's lost is $30 of lost revenue for the firm. And so real problem for her, real problem for her firm. And so we set out to build Tally, and I have a video here. Are we getting feedback?
Your laptop video.
Okay.
Your mic off, maybe.
Or
Yeah.
move it here.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. If you could, can you turn off your mic?
It's okay. I can also talk through it, and I'll do a demo anyways. So, like I said, voice-driven time tracking productivity solution for lawyers, right? Through any Amazon Alexa-enabled device, whether it's this Amazon Tap here or through your smartphone, you can interact with Alexa and therefore interact with Tally. After we capture your data, everything flows through to one centralized web application. So you can go online, you can edit, adjust, modify anything you want. And then from there, you can sync your data to your third party of choice. So our first backend integration partner is Clio, legal practice management tool based in Vancouver. And so you could literally, if you're a Clio lawyer, you could use Tally to track your time throughout the day, go to the Tally web application, click one button to have all your time in your system. So in the example I gave you before, my wife, no more hours at our kitchen table. And we're also saving the environment one Post-it note at a time. So some of the key product features I mentioned are Clio integration. Alexa's in every Amazon shopping app and every Amazon music app. So you can talk to Alexa and therefore talk to Tally through your iPhone or your Android device. We're also building in Slack and SMS text capabilities. So say you're in a crowded elevator or in court, you can use your thumbs to text Tally, chat with Tally to get your time in that way. And then real-time data visualization through the Amazon Alexa app, through our web application, through devices like the Amazon Echo Show. And we have right now around 70 law firms from across the US and Canada on our tool. We have a wait list of another 200 or so that include firms from the UK and Europe. And so far, user feedback has been great. Folks like Tripp, regional law firm, partner at a regional law firm out in Baltimore, used Tally one day, loves it, says he can't imagine his life without it. Al, a solo practitioner in small town Minnesota, thought that we were one of the coolest new technology partners with Clio, released in September. And Anna is a partner at a two-person law firm in Virginia, basically has reinforced our value proposition, which is we take away the pen and paper, let her ultimately do what she wants to do, which is why she went to law school, which is practice law, not be burdened with the administrative task of running a law practice. And how we're different really comes down to our approach. So we are taking a completely conversational approach to time tracking and productivity management. We do not want to be this separate application on your phone that you have to go to in order to interact with. But we want to be wherever you are in the moment, whatever you're doing. So through Alexa right now, we actually have a lot of capabilities for that. I mentioned the physical devices that can sit on your desk. The iPhone that goes with you everywhere. After 2018, Alexa will be in every single new BMW. So you could literally be driving home, take a client phone call, and immediately get that 6-minute chunk of time, that 12-minute chunk of time in. And then we're also looking to integrate with the right type of partners on the back end. So we have Clio right now. They have around 150,000 lawyers across 90 countries. And we're looking at other integrations within legal, like Practice Panther and Rocket Matter, as well as outside of legal, QuickBooks, FreshBooks, Xero, Harvest. And we really want to be that connecting layer, with between those two mechanisms. I've got my contact information here. For those in the room, I'll obviously hand out cards, and I've got some stickers as well. And I figured I'd do a quick demo of the actual solution. Prove to you guys that it does actually work. Believe it or not, is a question we get often. And so I'll just use my mobile device right now. I really hope the app doesn't fall down because that would be embarrassing, and it's happened before. So we made it to be super flexible, right? So natural language processing means that I might interact with it one way, you might interact with it another way, but at the end of the day, it can accomplish the same thing, which is tell you how long you spent on something, who it was for, and what it is that you did. And so I'm just going to do this through the Amazon Music app on my phone. You can do the same thing through your Amazon Tap or your Amazon Echo. Let's see if this works. Alexa, open Tally.
Hey Matthew, welcome to Tally. Tell me to log or start an activity.
Log 6 hours, 12 minutes for Thompson.
What was it you did?
drafted email to client regarding trial strategy, and reviewed 16 boxes of discovery documentation.
I've recorded it. Hurrah!
Voila, look at that. I talked into my phone and it showed up on the screen. Yeah. All right, so we did a couple of things there. You can see we recorded the time. We have the task description over here, and then where our integrations are valuable is not only being able to send your data off to Clio, but we use artificial intelligence to do some fuzzy matching and recognize, oh, hey, you said Thompson. Let me attach that to the Thompson matter that I see you worked on recently. And so that's where this pulls in. You can edit anything from this dashboard here, adjust anything. This is all pulling in real time directly from your Clio account. And so it makes it easy for you to add anything and also just, adjust, make edits. And so you can do whatever you want. And then to get your time into Clio, all you've got to do is hit sync all. We'll sync your data. Go over to the lovely Clio, new Clio interface. I'll hit refresh and look at that. I've got time in Clio with one click of a button. I didn't have to look at a post-it note. I didn't have to remember anything. I just talked into my phone and one click later we were there. And again, we're taking everything into account for you as a user. So if you round up to every 1/10 of an hour, we'll account for that. If the Thompson matter has a $100 bill rate and everything else that you do is flat fee, we'll account for that. Basically from here, it enters the normal Clio workflow, and you can do with it whatever you would like. And so that is a little bit on how Tally works, how we're trying to eliminate the huge, massive pain point of tracking time and managing productivity for lawyers. So thank you guys.
Great. Well, first question from Glenn. What about the security issue of sending client input through third-party app and server? I'm reminded of the police getting information about crime from an echo.
Yep. So we get that question all the time. We also get the question of like, is Jeff Bezos always listening to me? No, he's not. He's a busy guy. So these devices are no different than your mobile phone. They're a piece of hardware that have a piece of software called Alexa sitting on them. Everything is localized in the device. So she's locally listening for her wake word, which is Echo, or Alexa, or computer. There's 4 that you can set up. Once she hears that, she'll start to kind of record what you say. But all of that is completely separate from what happens on the web interface. So you notice that I said Thompson, right? That is captured through Amazon, goes to the Amazon servers. But that data is ultimately owned by you as the user. Through the Amazon Alexa app, you can literally delete every single recording that she ever takes. So any interaction you ever have with her, you can delete from those servers. But if you don't, Thompson could be a variety of people. Thompson could be a variety of businesses. All of that is completely separate from obviously what happens on your web page and your dashboard, which is all under our control, which we heavily encrypt, do everything that we have to do from a security perspective. That's something that our current users and law firms have gotten over the hump with. We're also going through final approval with several bar associations, so it's something they've all gotten comfortable with. And at the end of the day, those recordings, if you choose not to delete them, they only get used by Amazon per the terms of service, which are basically improving the artificial intelligence that powers the application. So they're not listening to try to market more towards you and try to get you to buy more Amazon products. They're really using it to improve the overall technology and the overall experience.
There's a little comment about when it's on TV. Has that ever been an issue, like the TV advertising for Echo and Echo wakes up?
Oh, yep. So if you were listening to like the South Park episode a couple of weeks ago where they were talking about Alexa and Google Home, they've set off devices across the world. So yeah, so that definitely happens. There's plenty of ways that you can mute your devices. Obviously through your mobile phone, you need to go into the app to do it. But yes, she will definitely turn on randomly, sometimes accidentally. But again, in terms of what she records, it's only after that wake word when you're interacting with her. And so if some entity wants to actually, subpoena for that information, it's going to be a couple of seconds here or there. It's not going to be, everything that the thing has recorded since you plugged it in.
How do you charge for it?
So we are right now free for the first 14 days. So any and everyone, if you want, you can sign up at our website, and I will pull that. Slide back up. So telltally.com, free for the first 14 days for anyone that wants to sign up. After that, we have several options available. One is kind of a starter pack. So for $90, you'll get for 3 months of Tally, and we'll give you a free Echo Dot device. And from there, it's just a month-to-month subscription at $30 per user per month. For if you're a law firm, you have 50 attorneys, but you only want 5 to give it a shot, that's fine. We have plenty of clients like that as well.
Have you tracked the time savings from, say, an electronic timekeeping service to your voice operated one?
So there's two elements of our value proposition. One is on the input side. So studies show that lawyers can lose up to 15 hours of billable time per month just due to poor timekeeping, the lost Post-it note example that I gave you. And then on the back end, I've had people tell me that they spend up to 20 hours every month just on the manual task of time entry. I even talked to one associate at a big firm in San Francisco. On the last day of August, I talked to him at like 10 a.m. and he was like, I will literally be in the office for the next 15 hours recreating my month because I didn't track any of my time this whole month. He's like, I got to go back through my calendar, look at who I called, what things did I work on. So that's the first element of that. So with Tally, if we can, if you're losing 15 hours per month at even an entry-level rate in Portland at $300 an hour, I mean, there's $4,500 of revenue per month that you're missing out on. On the back end, a simple voice command, even if you're spending 15 to 20 hours a month on the manual task of tracking time, if we can eliminate half of that for you, save you 5 to 10 hours per month, that's time either one, you can spend on other billable activities, or two, just go home, turn your 80-hour work week into a 75-hour work week or a 70-hour work week. Might be enjoyable. So there's value on both ends, and that's exactly the type of feedback that we've been getting from our users as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, final question.
It might be obvious to go on and
All right,
have
cool.
your demo.
10 ultimate.
But like a lot of the time when you're working, the problem is you don't know when you start and when you stop.
Yeah.
And you use yours to be like,
Yep.
Tally, start recording for Thompson.
Yep. So you can start a timer, stop a timer. If you have a timer running and then you're like, oh crap, I started this other thing, you can change your time all with your voice. So so you can log time in retrospect, you can start a timer, stop a timer. Pretty soon you'll have the ability to sync your time to like Clio with your voice, so you don't even have to log in and click if you don't want to. But yeah, a variety of ways to get your time actually in, whether you like to do it after the fact or do it in real time with timer functionality.
And can you like dovetail that with things in your calendar and other buttons?
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot of people are like, oh, hey, thanks for solving that pain point. Now solve all these other problems with voice. They're like, I hate getting my expenses in. Also, I want you to sync with my calendar. So we're collecting all that feedback right now and looking at how we can solve some of those other problems with a conversational approach. So for right now, it's time tracking.
So 2 points. First, for the benefit of your wife and her bar license in Oregon, I suggest that you don't use the Post-it attributed to her.
Gotcha.
Not what you
Fair point. She hasn't seen one of these presentations either, so.
Oh.
But she knows that she's in them.
And you put a photo of her on the problem slide.
That's right, yeah.
She's also the inspiration for the idea.
That's better.
Yeah.
And, but substantively, the Office suite, Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, used to be able to generate a chronology of every document.
Yep.
Worked on. And you used to be able to port that, frankly, into your timesheets.
Yep.
Manual, but
yep.
do it. And I just wonder, with all of the digital basis for our practices, why can't we extract that information and nudge you,
yep.
in case your wife, that she couldn't remember, that she prepared 3 of the same document drafts. And here are the times and the dates and the matters which were coded into the document identifier.
And so there are some solutions out there that will digitally track what you do throughout the day, whether it's how long you've had a document open, how long you were drafting an email, even how long you spent on client phone calls. Everyone that we've talked to about that data has said that that's great. So now you tell me like the timestamps of all these things, but you still put the burden on me to make sense of them. So did I actually open up that document 3 times? That's what you're telling me. But what did I do in that? And was I actually in that document, or did Roland come in and we started to have a conversation at the same time? And so that's where we're kind of that in between, where with the voice, it's frictionless enough where you can get your time in easily without having to manually do anything. It's a low enough load cognitively where you can go task to task really easily. And at the end of the day, you get enough of the data in where it says to yourself like, oh yeah, drafting a motion for summary judgment, I can add my detail onto that. Where if I just got info said that I had this document open for an hour and a half, then that would take more cognitive load for me to think of, okay, what did I do and how do I start from scratch with outlining that description? That's some of the feedback that we've gotten from people like that. The other part is just simply like, hey, I do a lot of stuff that's not recorded anywhere digitally, right? It might be traveling to a meeting. It might be several hallway conversations when I'm at court. There's a lot of stuff that's done outside of the digital world. And there's no other way to do that.
Complementarity.
Yeah, and we are looking at some stuff like that too, because some of the feedback we've gotten also is it's not, the data that you capture is incredibly valuable, but those blank spaces of time are also incredibly valuable. So that's where the calendar can come in, or these other areas where it's like, you recorded time at these certain points throughout your day. Your calendar says you were doing this, like, were you really doing this? And you didn't record any time there. So I think there is a middle ground there for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Well, thank you so much. This is very cool. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing. All for coming. We ran just a little bit over time. Next week we have a session.
Next week we have Mary Ann Williams, who is going to be presenting on Tuesday during lunch. So there will be no Thursday meeting. And then Thanksgiving recess, we come back the week after Thanksgiving on November 30th. We are having a lunchtime speaker, Meng-Wang Wang, who is a residential CodeX fellow speaking on digital contracts. So there will not be a 1:30 meeting. It's going to be at 12:45. It'll be available remotely, though, so folks can dial in for that. And then we come back on December 7th and December 14th for 2 more CodeX meetings.
Great. And we'll also live stream Mary Ann's session, too. All right.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So hope to see you all next week. Thank you.